pattern for the last 2 years or so. Once these girls they say my fiance, it's a wrap on anything that the dude does is stupid, any kind of abuse.
Do you know, I had to change computers. It was working fine all day. And then as soon as I got ready to do the show, it wouldn't, the camera started to fail and the microphone went out. It just stopped paying attention to everything. So luckily, I have a different laptop and I just switched right to that one. Sorry it took so long. But we are here. Yeah, Monday. Monkey Shines Monday. That's what I used to call it. And it's definitely something going on that's monkey shine-ish. Let me see if I can make this light come on. Yeah, I tell you. Now my lighting's all messed up because I had to change everything. Hold on a second. Ooh, that's too much. Yikes. We don't want that. There we go. That's better. Ah, this is going to be the worst video. Unfortunately, I can't go in and edit it because it's a live stream, but it is what it is. Um, let's get started anyway. This is just, that took forever. Just a bunch of wasted time. Let's go on to start with the questions. Let me see, how many do we have today? 26. Oh boy, I'm behind. Well, we're getting started a little earlier than we usually do, so it should be all right. Let's get started. Let's roll out with question number 1 of 26 for those of you who like to keep track of these things. This is a young lady, 28 to 34. She's Caucasian from Providence, Rhode Island. So I have an issue. Am I wrong for refusing to give up my inheritance to pay for my sister's wedding? My dad passed away last year after a long illness. It was devastating, but honestly, the last few years of his life were harder than the funeral itself. I'm 28 and I was the one who moved back home to take care of him. I handled doctor's appointments, late night emergencies, all the bills, and basically ran the house when he couldn't do it anymore. It was exhausting, but I don't regret it. He and I got very close during that time. My older sister is 32, and on the other hand, she lives out of state. She came back twice in the last year of his life, once for Christmas and once for his birthday. I don't think she's a bad person, but she definitely distanced herself from all the responsibility. Her excuse was that she had her, quote, own life and, quote, couldn't just drop everything. I understood at the time, but it still hurt. When my dad passed, his will specifically left me a decent chunk of money. Not millions, but enough that I could pay off my student loans and actually start saving for a house. It was clear in the will that this money was for me because of the sacrifices I made while caring for him. My sister received other things. He left her some jewelry and a classic car he had restored that she always loved. But the majority of the liquid assets went to me. Fast forward to now. My sister got engaged in May. Her fiance is nice enough, but they both have champagne tastes on a beer budget. The wedding they're planning is way out of their price range. It's a destination resort, designer dress, open bar, a huge guest list. I assumed they were going into debt for it, which I thought was their choice. But then about a month ago, she sat me down and said, I need your help. Dad would have wanted you to use some of that inheritance to make my wedding special. She wasn't asking for a loan. She wanted me to hand over $30,000 to cover the venue and catering. I flatly told her no. I said, Dad left that money for me for a reason, and I'm using it to build stability in my life, not to blow it on a party. She immediately got defensive and accused me of being selfish and choosing money over family. Now my mom has gotten involved. She says Dad would have wanted me to share and that family comes first. I told her Dad literally wrote a will that reflected his wishes and that if he wanted to fund my sister's wedding, he would have given her money for that. Mom keeps saying I'm tearing the family apart. My sister's been telling relatives that I'm punishing her for not being around when Dad was sick, which makes me feel sick to my stomach because it's kind of true. I am resentful, but it feels unfair that the person who did all the work gets nothing and the one who barely showed up gets rewarded. Some cousins are on her side and have texted me things like, it's just money, you'll make more, and your dad would have wanted you to have her special day. Others thankfully have said it's insane that she's even asking. Now my sister says she won't invite me to the wedding at all unless I do the right thing. My mom is begging me to reconsider for the sake of peace. But honestly, I can't see myself handing over $30,000 just so my sisters can have a fancy Instagram wedding while I put my future on hold. Still, the guilt is eating at me. Should I reconsider my refusal to share my inheritance with my sister to pay for her wedding? What would you do in this system, in this situation, please? You don't know? I would have told her to kick rocks with bare feet and then run on top of the freeway and try to dodge the 75 miles an hour cars. That's what I would have told her. Now let me go over something here. Now tell her if she wants some money for her wedding to sell that classic car and the jewelry and raise the $30,000 herself. She shouldn't get to have her inheritance and yours too. So that's what you need to tell her, and that's what you need to tell your mom and all these cousins and everybody calling you, saying it's just money, you'll make more. Say, well, the same applies to you. You wanted to have a fancy Instagram wedding, you write a check. I'm not writing one. I'm gonna give her the same wedding present I would have given her anyway, and then that's all she's gonna get. And so, you decide how much that's going to be, $500, a set of dishes, some pots and pans. I mean, whatever you decide that you want to give her, that's what you give. And then that's all you give. And put your money, I mean, make sure your bank book and everything is safe. You don't have stuff sitting around that they can come into your house and take. Okay, your mother should not have a spare key to your house. Nobody should. Things like this, lock stuff down. Put your valuable stuff in a safe deposit box somewhere and make sure that, if you have these funds, don't make them liquid. Put them in like some kind of term account or something. So even you don't have access to it until you make a firm plan on how you're going to spend it. Because right now you'd be spending it emotionally, and that's not a good thing. So put it somewhere, I don't know, 3 years to CD, something, 5 years, 7 years, whatever you want. And then you go and, get your money, buy your house or whatever you're going to do. But your mother, your cousins, aunts, uncles, her friends, all her little flying monkeys, you tell them just what they told you. It's just money. You'll make more. So you want her to have that. All y'all need to write a check and then raise that $30,000 for it, because I'm not doing it. And she can sell the car and she can sell the jewelry if she really wants to raise $30,000 to blow on one day. Really, what they should be doing is saving that money to do something sensible with it. They're going to be talking about having kids and stuff. So, kids are expensive. So you asked me what I would do in that situation. That's exactly what I would do. And I would have told her that long ago. Question number 2, female, 28 to 34. She's African American from Ontario, California. Summary of the issue: how do you slow fade a guy you promised to go on a date with but are no longer interested in? So I have a date planned with a guy in a couple of days. However, I found out some things about him via research online that are actually deal breakers for me. Now I'm in no mood to go out with him. Oh, dang. How do I deal with this but in a respectable manner? She must have found a criminal history or something. We met on a dating app. Personally, I want to dedicate more time to other options that I can see myself pursuing, but wasting time messaging guys that I feel are no longer aligned with me is no good. It just keeps their hopes up wanting more. Man, I should have researched sooner. Well, just tell them that. Text dude and say, I'm going to, cancel our date because I met somebody that I think I have a better rapport with, better option. He's he's like almost exactly what I'm looking for, whatever you want to say, but basically tell him it ain't happening and then block him. Block him on the platform and block him on your phone. That's all you have to do. People should expect that on a dating app. I mean, it's not a committed relationship. You haven't like sworn to be committed to him or, to be his partner for life or anything like that. It's just a date. And this is going to be the first date, and you just met the clown on the dating app. So I don't understand why you even having all this angst about it. It's no big deal. I mean, you could just wake up in the morning and decide, I don't think I want to go out today. And it don't have to be nothing about him, but you just change your mind. Want to stay at home in the bed and watch Netflix or something. That is perfectly reasonable for you to cancel the date. Okay? That's all you have to do. Yeah, I don't understand these people want to spend 30, 40, 50, 100,000, $200,000 on a wedding. I mean, you ain't royalty, you know, CEO of some big company or something, some blue chip trading corporation. What in the world are you doing? That should never happen. If you got, just a regular job and stuff, you shouldn't be spending any more than 10 grand on your whole wedding. And that includes a reception. That's just too much money. Just going up in smoke for one day to entertain a whole bunch of other people. I wish. So let's move on. Question number 3 of 26 questions. If you want to submit a question to this show, This is how you do it. Just instructions are there, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You just fill out the form and you go to debsterism.com/get advice, and there's a form that you fill out. So you just fill all that out, and then it will, and then press send it on in to Candace. And then if she likes what you got to say, she will pick it and put it in the column. Okay. All right. Let me see. Why is my, I'm just not having good computer karma today. I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to question number 3. This is a young lady, 20 to 34, from Brownsville, Texas. Summary of issue. Am I a B for, quote, excluding my ex's new girlfriend? I am 29, divorced with a 9-year-old daughter. My daughter's father has been in a relationship with a woman named Stephanie for about 6 months now. She has 2 younger daughters that are 4 and 5. My ex is 32, in case you want to know. Okay, so you're 29, he's 32, and your kid is 9, and the new girlfriend has 4 and 5-year-olds. Okay. My ex-husband and I have had many conversations about how to ease my own child into their new blended family by making sure that she still has lots of time with her dad, not combining every single special event with the other kids, and keeping lines of communication open. Overall, the introduction has been positive, but my daughter has mentioned that the younger children can be overwhelming and sometimes annoying. However, despite the conversations, every single special event has been blended, for lack of a better word. So he's not spending any one-on-one time with his child, if that's what you're trying to say. Okay. We're coming up on Halloween, and my daughter has trick-or-treating plans with her best friend and her family. Halloween is my custody time this year. My ex-husband asked if he could come and bring his new girlfriend and her children. I said no. So as I wanted my daughter to be able to have time with her friend without having the other little kids in tow. They are not officially her siblings in any way, and I feel that she deserves protected time just for her. My ex-husband says I'm purposely excluding his new girlfriend and that I should be more concerned that she doesn't have many friends or others to go out with on that evening. I feel like that's not my problem, and I'm advocating for my own child without having her feel like she needs to people please or feel guilty. I am not asking my daughter her opinion, as I do not want her to feel burdened with any guilt. By the way, I did invite them to a Halloween event at her school that same week to help initiate balance. What do you think? I think you did good because, you're holding back. And the way I feel about it, I would have said, "Look, clown, that's just your girlfriend, and you barely know that bitch." So it's like I'm being nice by letting my daughter associate and affiliate with them, but they're not family. You're not married to her. They're not her step siblings. They have nothing to do with me, and they don't have nothing to do with her. So you always trying to like horn in on everything and stuff them kids in her face all the time. You haven't even spent any single time with your daughter in a long time. You more focused on them 2 chumps than you are your own baby. So no, they ain't coming. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see them. And I don't you ever ask me anything like this ever again. Okay? Because even if you get married to her, she's not coming on anything where I'm taking my daughter and her friends. They're not coming. You keep your kids over there, your girlfriend and her kids over there somewhere. They ain't coming to my house, and they're not gonna be going to everything that my daughter does. So you just accept that. That's how it's gonna be. And if you can't accept it, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's not gonna stop nothing at this address. And that's what I would have told him because he's doing too much. He's doing way too much. And you're so polite. Question number 4. This is a female, 20 to 34, from Scottsdale, Arizona. So I have an issue. I told my parents to stop using my house like free storage, and now they're pissed. I'm 31. I bought my first house last year. It's small, but it's mine. Ever since then, my parents have been slowly filling my garage and my spare bedroom with their stuff. Old furniture, holiday decoration, boxes of random junk. At first, I didn't mind, but now I can't even park in my garage. Oh no. I asked if they could rent a storage unit since I need my space back. They told me I was being ungrateful and that family helps each other. My dad even said, "We kept your stuff when you were a kid. Now it's our turn." Key word, minor child. When have you been a kid? That was like 60, 70 years ago. Look out of here. I told them I give them a month to clear it out or I'll start donating things. Now my mom is saying I'm being heartless. dang, can I even set boundaries about my own house so I didn't feel bad about it? Yes, you can. And your mistake was letting them do that. You know, to me, like every time they brought say, okay, you're gonna bring this, then you got to take something else out because this little spot right here, this is all you get. You're not taking over my spare bedroom because I need that for my office or for when I have guests. It's not a storage space for you. If you want a storage space, you need to go rent one. You know, all this stuff here, this is I'm getting ready to get rid of this stuff. So, you know, you did good to give them a month. I would have said you got 24 hours to come get this shit. Because I'm gonna sit it out at the curb. You talking about donate, I'm gonna it's going to the curb. And then whoever wants it can drive by and get it. Because obviously you don't need it and you're not using it. That's why you have it over here. So it don't need to be clogging up my house. I'm gonna put it out at the curb and whoever wants it and can use it is going to get it. If you don't want that to happen, you need to come over here and get it by noon tomorrow. That's what I would have said. Then I would have got me and my couple of my friends and set that shit out at the curb and put a sign up that said free and let people get it, take it. You you better grow a spine. Question number 5. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group from Mobile, Alabama. Sorry to issue. My boyfriend and I got an argument over using my employee discount at my job. Is this something worth ending a relationship over? Well, let's see. So to elaborate more, I work at a well-known retail store and I get a 40% off employee discount. Wow, that's a lot. I'm currently on vacation with my family, and my boyfriend texted me saying that his sister wanted to buy something using my discount. I've let them use it before. The plan was I was going to order it online and have it shipped to their house since I won't be back until next week. And the items would come in about 2 or 3 days. It was just quicker that way. After the items she wanted were sent and it came time to pay, all communication was through my boyfriend. I never texted her directly. I let my boyfriend know the total was $200 and asked if he was sending me the money or if his sister was. And he said they'll pay me cash when I get back. I didn't like this idea because that's an extra $200 I could use on vacation. So I asked if he could just send it to my money app, and he didn't see the difference and why I couldn't wait. I explained it to him, but he wasn't understanding the issue, and he kept just saying I would get paid back. I'm sure she will pay me, but that's how I am with everyone. I don't usually pay for anything until I get the money first. Well, then why did you do that? You should have had the money transferred to cash, then ordered the stuff. I mean, just like you want to get paid after, she could have done that beforehand. I just told him I'll place the order once I get back after I receive the cash. And that's when things escalated because he was calling me stubborn and saying it's going to look bad, explaining to his sister why I don't want to order it. I know it's a dumb argument, but the way he reacted and him not understanding where I was coming from was kind of a turnoff. We've been together for 2 years, and this was the first time I saw an immature, argumentative side to him. Plus, the reason for his arguing was unnecessary, but I'm more open on communicating with what I'm okay and not okay with, and I really don't like paying for things for anyone until I have the money in my account. Just something we see differently, I guess. All of those went down yesterday, and he hasn't texted me back since. Probably still upset. But I want someone who can communicate and work things out with. So it's kind of bothering me how he's is more of a silent and ignoring me type. I like to talk things out and find a solution. I just want to get your opinion and see if maybe I'm just overreacting and I was really being stubborn. And if you say that's the case, I'm more than open to reaching out and apologizing to him. Nope, you would never hear me say that. First of all, when you have a policy about getting your money before you use your discount, you just say that. You know, you got ready to to order it for her, which is a great favor. But I mean, what is that doing for you? It's putting you out $200 while you're on vacation and need your money. So you should have just told them, well, I'll order it when I get back. And when you guys bring me the money over to the house, then I'll place the order right then. But yeah, I'm on vacation right now. I need all my money. So I don't really have any spare money to extend to her, to loan to her for the stuff. That's all you had to say. And he would have been mad, but he would have got over it. What's giggles? Yeah, they do sound like hoarders, Nikki. They gonna hoard up their house and then go hoard up hers too. Mm-mm. Nope, 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 nope. So you just want to know if this is something worth breaking up over. Um, it depends how long he keeps this silent thing. If he comes back saying, "Well, I was quiet because I was thinking about it, and yeah, you're right, I was wrong. You know, I should have just said, you know, something." Unless he comes back with something like that, then you know this is the hill he's ready to die on. So just let him die. You know, just end it. Because one thing no woman should ever tolerate disrespect. That's your money. That's your job. That's your discount. That's your be on your credit card or whatever. So or debit coming out your account. So everyone that's losing something here, that's investing something is you. And he, it's just a convenience. You're offering them a convenience and a money saving discount. They ought to be grateful. If you wanted your money right now, they should have happily sent it to you with no argument. You saving her almost half price on stuff. And then they want to like nitpick about when they gonna give you the money. They're like, oh fuck you, you're not getting that, you're not getting shit now unless you go in the store and pay full price for it. That's what they would have got from me. So you want to act funny about my money and you're getting a 40% discount based on me and you don't want to give me no money? Then you go in the store and you pay full price for it. You and your sister. Don't ever ask me for shit again, because it's not gonna happen. And if you got a problem with it, say, well, you know what, let's break up. Let's break up because you don't have the right attitude. And you let me have a friend where I could go someplace and get a 40% discount. I'll be giving them all kind of extra money. Question number 6. This is a young lady, 28 to 34, from Manchester, England. The male is 28 to 34 as well. Summary of issue. My fiance tracked my location and did a pop-up. My fiance and I, both 33, have been together for 7 years. We're set to get married next year. However, I'm starting to have serious doubts because I feel like issues are coming up that I thought we already had resolved. We share our locations, and sometimes my location doesn't update on his end, and vice versa. Why do you guys do that? Who does that? Do any of you guys do that with your partners? Share locations? I used to have something like that on my daughter, but that's because she was a kid. And, if any shit went down, I need to be able to, get to her. And one time I did have to go get her from a party she went to. She was hiding in the bushes down the street. I don't know she would not tell me what them kids did or tried to do. But yeah, I went and picked her up and it was like, I had to get out the bed and everything. That's what I was working as a trainer. My first client was 5 in the morning. So, I had been asleep, but something happened and she called and she's like, Mommy. And she had that tone that, that makes the chills go up your spine. Mommy, and I was like, instantly woke up and sat up in the bed and I was like, what? And so, where is she? You see on the little thing. So I knew, the general vicinity. And she said, I'm not exactly there. I'm down the street. And it was, like 1 in the morning or midnight or something. Something late. And she was hiding in the bushes away from them kids so that they didn't see her. And she told me where she was. So I pulled up and around. She jumps in the car. We took off and went on. So yeah, for kids, I can see that's, you need to keep it with your kids, especially in this day and age where people snatch them off the street and shit. I mean, if, I had a kid, I'd probably put one of them implanted trackers in their body somewhere so I could find them, even if they took their watch or phone or whatever. I still want to be able to find them. But an adult, I just don't understand. So do any of you guys do that? You can put it in the chat if you do. Or if you heard of anybody doing that, I'm interested to find out. Okay, so they had these trackers and it looks like it's off. He responded to this happening very unfavorably in the past and would jump to conclusions and think I'm out doing something malicious. We talked at length about this and I've shared how his reaction when it happens is not acceptable and he needs to assume best intent. Things in this area have been good, or so I thought. After work today, I stopped by the grocery store to pick up a few snacks. I was planning on just running in and out because I wanted to get home. So I kept my phone in my purse instead of directly in my hand. As I'm going through the aisles, I hear a voice say, hey. And to my surprise, it's my fiance. I was completely taken aback because I just was not expecting to see him, but I was happy to see him nonetheless. I quickly realized, though, that this was not a random meeting. I could tell he was upset. He asked me why I wasn't answering his calls. I had no idea he'd been calling as my phone was in my purse, and I must not have heard it ring in the busy, loud store. So when I took my phone out to show him that it was in my bag, and that was the reason I missed his calls, I saw that he had called and FaceTimed me 10 times. So between the time you left work and then 10 times. And you think this is somebody you should marry? Girl, you need to slap yourself and wake up. He said that my location was off, which I quickly showed him on my phone that it wasn't. Also, that made no sense because how else would he have known I was at the store? Exactly. He proceeded to silently follow me around the store as I finished getting my stuff and checked out. We awkwardly left separately in our 2 cars. He sees nothing wrong with what he did and feels it was justified because he thought something was going on to the location being off and me missing his calls. I'm furious and feel like he had no right to act this way. It's completely unhealthy, controlling, and I don't deserve it. Is this something to break up over? It would be something for me. Because, see, by the time you had to tell, you told him the first time. See, first of all, he wouldn't have been sharing location. I don't do that. You're not going to be tracking me down like you some kind of, you know, dog. I'm like a dog or something. No, we're not going to do that. You're not going to have my locations. And I'm going to get home when I get there, and I'm going to be where I'm going to be. You know what? No, because it was after work, so it was still, early. Just, early evening or whatever. So, that wouldn't work for me. And I have this thing about men who exhibit jealous, controlling behaviors. I cut it off as soon as it happens. I mean, if they even like one dude asked me who was on my phone, I threw him out of my house, and that was the end of the budding relationship. I kind of like him. This was gonna be like a third date, and he said that one thing, and it turned me so off. So I mean, like underground off, and I just tossed him out of my house. And that was, it was over. He just couldn't believe it. He's like, you called and stuff. I never, call up, you look and see who it is. I never picked it up. Then, then I discovered that you could use block on phones because I'd never really been a phone person. I figured out how to do it, and then I blocked him. But yeah, I don't do that. Don't ask me nothing. Where was I? Where am I going? Who did I see when I was dating? Don't ask me any of those questions. If I wanted you to know, I would volunteer that information. So don't ever ask me because that's the instant breakup. I don't care how much I might love you. I'm not tolerating it. We're not going to do that. Too many women with jealous men, controlling and possessive men are in shallow graves. I don't intend to be one of them. Okay? We're not going to do that. So let's move on. Question number 7. We got 26 questions. In case you wondering, this is a male, 35 to 41. He's Asian, Los Angeles. The female, 35 to 41. She's white. Oh, this ought to be interesting. Discovered issue marriage is nothing but a piece of paper with a question. I've heard this now from guys on social media, but to me, no, anytime with no legal access. Exactly, that's why people like it. When I was 20, I realized something important. In a casual relationship, you can give your best, your time, your effort, your loyalty, and still end up looking foolish or used. But in marriage, that sacrifice and effort carry weight because commitment is binding. You're going I think it's StreamYard. I think they're screwing up somehow today. It's just I just got dropped. Got kicked off. I couldn't get back in. I guess I'll never do another show on Monday because this is just too much. This is just too much. Too many bad things are happening today. This is insane. Okay, where was I? Oh, because he's talking about marriage. Okay, you're going above and beyond for someone who is legally, emotionally, and spiritually tied to you. That's right. Example: my ex-wife left with our son without me knowing. 3 weeks later, she was already talking to another guy with a daughter. She even tried telling me that his daughter and our son got along as if I was supposed to be okay with it. Meanwhile, she still wasn't letting me speak to my own son. One day I called her trying to talk to my kid, and the guy happened to be with her. I asked to speak to him, and she put him on the phone. I told him straight, "You're talking to a married woman. Things between us aren't settled yet." I repeated it. Man to man, you're dealing with a married woman. A week later, I found out he wasn't talking to her anymore. The no marriage mindset breeds instability. It makes relationship disposable and strips away accountability. Without the foundation of marriage, families weaken, trust erodes, and society pays the price. So, singles, marriage isn't just a piece of paper, it's a covenant. And that covenant is what gives relationships real strength and meaning. Deb, do you agree? Oh, absolutely. Because I think, for one thing, if the two people really want to get married, now don't be one of those kind of people that's just doing it because they've been together so long and it's like the next step and they're not really feeling it, but they just do it because everybody keeps asking them when you're getting married. Okay, that's different. People who get married out of desperation and marrying somebody who they already know is stupid and beneath them and just a user and loose and stupid. Those are other people that are quote married, but they're not really committed like the way that you're talking about. When you have these kind of people with this mentality about it being a lifelong true commitment to be together, come hell or high water, and whatever. The only way out of this is you're gonna die. You're not getting a divorce. We ain't separating. If you get mad, you go in the other room and sleep on the couch or something, but your ass ain't going nowhere. This kind of stuff. If they both have that mentality, then they will last and they will fight everybody to make sure that their marriage that they stay together. And I agree. I mean, people who want to live together already go into it with the idea that they have one foot out the door. That's why I don't really understand why girls live and move in with dudes and then say, well, we're going to get married one day. No, you're not. You're going to end up breaking up. I mean, when you really think about it, why would he marry you when he's already getting all the benefits of having a wife without marriage? You there sleeping with him, cooking, cleaning, babysitting his kids from his ex, doing stuff for his dogs and cats, worrying about his life, worrying, making his doctor appointments. You're doing all the things that a wife would do without any of the legal protections and none of the commitment. So totally, my personal thing is women live with men, they're stupid. You don't. Okay. You just are goofy. You're not thinking. That is a situation that's not in your best interest at all. So I am with you, sir, totally in your corner on this way of thinking. We're alike. Question number 8. This is a male, 20 to 34, from Cleveland, Ohio. Subject issue: how can a guy date when all he likes to do is watch TV? Well, he find a woman that's all she likes to do, watch TV. They'll be a perfect match. I have a cough friend, himself, who does not see the world as a beautiful place, and all he does is want to come home to his man cave and watch his new OLED LG C5 TV. I don't know what all that is. His outings are for fitness, food, and clothes, and bare essentials. If he meets a woman and he asks, "What is your passion?" what can he honestly say? He likes going ice skating once in a while, and then gets back in the car and fast and go back to the man cave. Not sure, dude, even if he got Jeff Bezos' money, would want to see the world. Oh, that's it. Well, you want to know how you should date? Like I said, well, I mean, you might meet somebody ice skating. You might meet somebody out while you're doing fitness and clothes shopping or whatever. I mean, it's a possibility. Is it likely? Not really. Most likely, you're gonna have to get on the apps and say, "All I like to do is watch TV." If you want to watch TV with me, then then hit me up. Because there's a lot of women like that. Their only hobby, I mean, they cook, they might go to church, they go to school or work. If they have kids, they take care of their kids, and then they watch TV. And their conversation is about the TV shows, and what rapper said on some of them housewife type shows. They like to watch that kind of stuff. What they call it, reality TV. They like to watch reality TV shows, and that's all they talk about. So if you run into somebody like that, y'all be perfect together. You could just bore each other to tears. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm a firm believer that there is someone for everybody, at least one someone. Question number 9. This is a male, 35 to 41, from Baltimore, Maryland. Sir, issue. I need help ending things with an addict. I've been dating this girl off and on for about a year. Admittedly, a lot of our relationship bloomed around the fact that we both like to do D's and party. I've been doing a lot of work on myself recently and have gotten clean. I've been sober for 6 months now. The same could not be said about my girlfriend. I've been trying to help her get clean, but she doesn't really seem to care at all. The craziest part about all this is that she's constantly begs me for a baby, but refuses to clean up her act. So she want to have a addicted baby? Is that what you're telling me? I told her I'm not interested in having children, which is true. However, she won't leave me alone and constantly brings up wanting a baby, but refuses to behave like a responsible adult. I've been trying really hard to give her a chance and praying she cleans up her act, but I'm just not seeing it. I don't really see myself having a future with her, and I want to break up with her, but my biggest fear is that she'll do something drastic like OD. Not your fault, not your problem, not your concern. I really do care for her and consider her one of my best friends, but lately I'm starting to realize that I'm not in love with her and that we aren't all that compatible. Not to mention, I've only known her for a year, and the constant baby talk is starting to freak me out. I'm going to tell you this, you better strap up. You better don't sleep with her, because the next thing you know, she's going to be pregnant and you're going to be stuck. Because then she's going to have, like, even if she decides to have the baby and give you custody of it, your life is going to change if you just said you don't want any kids right now. And if she's using D's, the kid is going to have problems, possibly birth defects, mental problems, all kinds of stuff's going to be going on. You're going to have one of them IEP needing kids. That's what you're going to have. And so, the best thing for you to do, even though you're worried about what she might do and all this, you better worry about yourself. What you might happen to you if you keep messing with this stupid woman. You're going to end up somebody's daddy of an addicted baby. And then the police get involved, and it's like, CPS gets involved. It just becomes a whole thing. So if I were you, I would get myself away from this woman as quickly as possible and do not touch her until when you leave. Just don't do it. She's going to magically end up pregnant and you're going to have a problem. I'm telling you. Because when women start talking about that, they want a baby stuff, she could feel that you're slipping away. And she's trying to figure out a way to keep you around. She thinks having a baby will do it. But you just joined. You came in time because the whole show it's just been, I've been having technical difficulties. I had to change computers at the beginning of the show. So there's a whole bunch of dark screen time while I was doing that. And then I just got kicked off the platform. I don't know what's going on. It's just been horrible. It's been a horrible broadcast. Question number 10. This is young lady 22 to 27 from Leeds, England. Summary of issue. My boyfriend has been very supportive while I'm grieving my mom's passing, and it's making me question our relationship. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You just don't want to do it. When women say they don't know what to do, they're always lying. A couple of weeks ago, I lost my mom unexpectedly to cancer, and I've been really struggling with grief. What makes it harder is that my boyfriend hasn't been as supportive as I thought he would be. We are 22 and 23 years old, by the way. Not long after my mom passed, his family had a dinner planned that had been arranged weeks in advance. I told him I really didn't want to go because I wanted to be with my own family and grieve. But I ended up forcing myself to go anyway because I felt guilty. I hadn't seen his family in a while since I was spending so much time at the hospital with my mother. When I told him I wanted to stay with my family instead of going to the dinner, instead of being understanding, he got upset, said that he was disappointed in me for canceling plans with him so often lately and not wanting to see his family. That broke my heart. I couldn't believe that after 4 years together, The man I thought I'd rest of my life with would react that way. I eventually had to tell him directly, look, I'm still grieving. My mother only passed away 3 weeks ago. Before he realized why I was canceling plans, he apologized for lashing out. But what hurt me was that it wasn't obvious to him that I'd still be in deep grief. Exactly. Who cares over the passing of a parent in 3 weeks? Later, he also mentioned that he missed going on dates and that it had been a month since our last one. I get that he misses our time together, but hearing that right now felt selfish and disappointing. It's making me question our relationship. In moments like this, I imagine my partner would be the one I could lean on for unconditional support. Instead, I feel like I don't have a shoulder to cry on. It makes me wonder if I lose another loved one in the future, will he react the same way? Will he be more concerned about his own needs and being there for me? I used to picture marrying him, but now I'm not sure if I want a lifetime with someone who isn't patient or supportive during the hardest moments of my life. I don't know if this is worth ending things over, but it's been weighing so heavily on my mind. My dad doesn't speak English, and I don't speak my first language fluently, so I can't really ask him for advice. You don't need to ask him. He just lost his wife. Are you crazy? Now you acting like your boyfriend. You're not going to ask him to help you get over your grief when he's lost his life partner. Okay, both you and your boyfriend are special. Both of you are on, both thinking only about yourselves. My friends have listened but haven't really given me guidance either, which is why I'm reaching out for some perspective. Is this relationship worth ending or saving? Is it valid to break up with my boyfriend over this? No. I mean, I would say yes, but in this case, I'm going to say no because, first of all, y'all is 22 and 23 years old. Okay, you just made it out of childhood like a few weeks ago. So I'm trying to figure out where you think somebody at his age is going to have the faculties, especially a male at that age, is going to have automatically have the faculties and the empathy and the emotional intelligence to be able to grasp how you're feeling, especially if he hasn't ever lost anybody. Like if his grandparents are still alive, his parents are still alive, all his aunts and uncles are still alive. He hasn't experienced what you're going through and has no clue at 22 years old. So, I'm cutting some slack here because I'm trying to see this from both sides. I know you're grieving. I understand how hard it is to lose, a parent. I understand that. I'm not downplaying that at all. But what I'm keep asking you to do is to understand that your expectations for a young guy with no experience with grief is he's not going to respond the way that you want him to. So you're having all these expectations of him, doing this textbook response to your grief, and I'm telling you it's not going to happen. And like I said, from the conversation here, both of you are extremely selfish people. So you wouldn't be there to support him, and he's not there to support you. So what does that mean? That you all support each other? Yeah, it's been good so far since I came back. Is that what's going on, Diego? Oh, no wonder. Full moon. Yeah, I had to switch in computers. I just don't even understand what's happening here. Uh, so I would suggest, finish grieving a little bit more because right now you're in the height of your emotional state, and any decision that you make is not going to necessarily be the best one. So I just want you to just calm down, grieve as much as you need to, then make a decision about this relationship. I don't know, maybe, you need somebody who's a little older. No matter how much you love him, you need a different kind of man, a different level of maturity than what a 22, 23-year-old young dude is going to have. And some people are just better with this kind of stuff than others. I admit I'm not very good at it. I mean, I'm not good at it when it's me that's grieving. I'm still not good at it. So, in a situation where somebody lost a parent or something, they probably shouldn't really look to me for all that kind of support because I don't think I'm really capable of giving it. I just be looking at people like, okay, well, they did. What you want me to do? And if you, I know that sounds crude, but that's really how I think. I can't do nothing about it. I mean, I could make these little placating textbook comment, oh, you're sorry for your loss and that kind of bullshit that people always say, but does that mean anything? I would rather do something tangible, like say you grieving and stuff, and your kids need to be bathed and their hair combed and put to bed. I'll do that. You can't cook. You haven't shopped. The food refrigerator's empty. I will go to the grocery store and I will buy the food and I will stock up your refrigerator so that you and the kids have something to eat. I'll even cook you something. But if you want me to sit there and hold your hand and watch you cry and pat your back and say, oh, she was a wonderful lady or she was in pain, she died of cancer, she's free now, all this kind of stuff that people say, I'm never going to say those things to you. So like I said, if it's a person who likes tangible exhibitions of someone's caring, I'm your person. If you just want a bunch of words and hand holding, I'm not the one. I don't do that. I don't do that well, and even if I tried to do it, I'd be rolling my eyes, so it wouldn't be sincere. So, people just have to think. People can only help you in using the tools that they have. That either that's good enough or it's not. So that's where you are. You got to think about it, but I don't want you to do it right now. Get over the grief first. Question number 11. This is a young man, 20 to 34. He's African American. Well, he's black. I don't know where he could be African up in Toronto, Canada. Female, 28 to 34 of mixed racial heritage. Some have issue. My girlfriend hates her weight but refuses to do anything about it. I've been with my girlfriend. Excuse me. I've been with my 30-year-old girlfriend for 4 years. I'm 32. And she's currently around 60 pounds overweight. She used to be a healthy weight, but she started gaining just before we got together. I have no problem with this. I think she wears it well. And I've always liked a thicker woman. But she absolutely hates her body and wishes she could now be how I wish she could be how she once was. Okay, I figured out what he was trying to say. She's always talking poorly about herself and has very little self-esteem. No matter how much I reassure and tell her that she's beautiful, she doesn't believe me and constantly questions why I'm with her. Oh my God, that would be so exhausting. The main issue is that she refuses to do anything about it. She eats huge portions of food and snacks and barely exercises. I've tried pushing her to count calories and join the gym and get a personal trainer and nutritionist. I even offered to pay for it myself. Getting her out of the house more to go on walks or bike rides, approaching it from a standpoint of overall health, pushing her to seek therapy. The list goes on. Nothing works. At best, she'll be more mindful of portion sizes for a week or two, but it doesn't last and the cycle begins all over again. This has been going on for the entire time we've been together. This may sound insensitive, but I'm getting to the point where I've had enough. There's only so much you can take of watching somebody bury their head in the sand and wallow in self-pity or refusing to make a sincere attempt to improve their situation. The constant negativity is exhausting and it's really starting to get to me. I know you were a trainer and I heard you say that you are teaching nutrition classes lately. I'm at a loss here. Is there anything I can do to help her at this point? Not really. I mean, did you ever talk to her about why, what started going on with her that made her start overeating and stop caring about herself? It sounds like depression. So what happened? What was the trigger? Did you ever ask her that? Did you guys ever talk about it? There had to be something that happened in her life that was the catalyst for this. When you find that out, and that's the root of the problem, then you can start. Then you can work backwards from there. But whatever it is that's causing her pain, she's trying to dull the pain with food. That's what's happening. So, even though, I mean, I had so many clients like that. They, they had like traumatic experiences, essays, getting out of an abusive relationship, you know, some kind of, death that really affected them deeply. Um, Accidents that changed, their body. Now they have scars or something where they didn't have them before. All kind of things go in people's minds that make them feel bad about themselves, or like there's something wrong with them. And so you, sir, I mean, you've been trying to fix what you perceive as the problem without really knowing what the problem is. You're seeing the problem as her gaining weight, but that's not the problem. The problem is what happened, what triggered this, what's going on with her mentally and emotionally. That's where the problem is. So, if you can find that out, or she'll share that with you, then you guys can make progress. But you need to start there. Okay. Hopefully she's been with you long enough that she can open up and tell you. But whatever she says, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna listen. And you're not gonna judge it. You're not gonna condemn her. You're not gonna make no suggestion for how she could get over it, or how it should have, could have, would have been, and what you would have done, and all that stupid shit that men typically say. You're gonna get up. You're gonna do this, and you're just gonna listen. Okay, be like my grandfather said, the Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. More men need to take that lesson, because y'all be running off at the mouth all the time, talking about some shit that nobody want to hear. Thank you, Giggles. I don't know where that sneeze came from. Question number 12. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group from Vancouver, Canada. Summary of issue. How do you deal with mobile phone addicts? Psh. How do you suggest I deal with an adult friend who is on her phone the entire time I'm out with her? To date, I have not confronted this situation, but I've grown increasingly annoyed with the rudeness, and I'm not sure how to tactfully handle it. What would I love to say? What I would love to say is, if you're going to spend the entire night on your phone, why don't you just stay home? Trust me, I'm not talking about someone who's just checking text every hour or so. I'm talking full on scrolling through Facebook, perusing photos, and engaging in nonstop texting. It's ridiculous to me that they cannot put their phone away for 2 or 3 hours to be present. A few of us have sat there and made cracks about people always on their phones in this friend's presence, hoping the message would resonate, but it just does not. What is the best way to confront friends like this other than to stop being social with them, which is already happening? Well, yeah, you need to tell her why. It's like, we're going to start having events and we're not going to invite you because even when you come, you're not really here. You're always on your phone. So you and your phone can go on a date and you and your phone can stay at your house. That's what you and your phone can do because the rest of us are going to go out and have fun. And that's what if it was my friend, that's what I'd tell her. And she would not go nowhere with me ever again in life. She would be invited nowhere. She tried to invite herself. I would say, no, not unless you give me your phone. Go, I'm going to keep your phone until it's time for you to go. Then I might let her come. But if the second she asked me for a phone, I would say, okay, this or thing is over. Take yourself and go home. You and your phone go home. That's really the only thing you can do because I'm not sure what her addiction is. Why I'm the opposite. I leave my phone in people's cars. I've left my phone at clients' offices. I've gone and I can't get back to get it till like the next Monday. It's over there over the weekend and stuff. My phone's lost in my house. I have to use the watch. Remember, I have my little Google watch here, so it has the Find My Phone feature. It's hooked to the phone, and so it makes the phone ring, so I can find my phone. I'm just the complete opposite of a phone addict. People be like, I called you, I texted you, you never answered your phone. That's how it is with me. So I don't understand. I don't understand the addiction. I just don't get it. So let's move on anyway to question 13. This is a man 50 to 56. He's Caucasian from San Jose, California. So an issue. I wanted to get serious and she asked me for money and is now ghosting me. Was I used all this time? Well, there you got to answer the question. I'm a long time watcher of your show, but this is the first time writing in. Deb, I've never had luck with ladies, never been a ladies' man. I am an average looking guy and I'm super nice, but never had long-term serious relationship. I'm a professional in the medical field. I make mid six figures. I'm tired of coming home to an empty house. So about 10 months ago, I started dating this Asian lady. She's 49, I'm 51. We met through mutual friends. We would go out once a week to dinner or a movie, nothing serious, not living together or engaged or anything. She'd invite me over to her house and cook dinner for me. This went on for months. One thing that concerned me was her spending habits. She blows through money like it's paper. She told me that her credit cards are maxed out, that she defaulted on her first car and had depleted her savings. And you didn't run? I've seen her spend money and it's scary. She makes around 50,000 a year. That's all. Other areas of concern were her constant flattery of me. She was always telling me how smart I was, good looking, etc. Once we were in a restaurant and I flat out asked her what she thought about me and where our relationship was going. She wrapped her leg around mine and hugged me tight and said, "You are so my type. I want to be with you so bad." Yeah, because I'm looking at them mid six figures. I want to be with you too. Now, keep in mind, it's easy to look back at this, but when it's happening, I was so clueless. Don't fault me, Deb. It's so easy to look back and see red flags. When it's happening, you just don't see it. We went on vacation to Europe. Yes, I paid for everything. She never came across as a gold digger or a user. Although I paid for dates and vacations, she never specifically asked for anything. But a week after we got back, she called me all flustered and tells me that she's not been able to pay her rent for a few months and that she's received an eviction notice and she's in default on her car and it's going to be repoed. Then she asks like this, "I need $10,000. Can you give me the money?" It rolled off her tongue as if she was asking for $20 in gas money. Well, see, in the black community, it's $40. Yes, for $40. Oh my God, this is just too much. This lady, I was almost in shock. Who the heck asked a non-family member for $10,000? I refused to give her any money. I told her I did not loan money. Sorry. She explained that she would pay me back $200 a month. Sorry, but loaning money never ends well, especially $10,000. Well, that was 3 weeks ago, and she totally ghosted me. If I text her, she leaves me on read. If I call, she doesn't answer. She's completely stopped communicating and seeing me. She 100% ghosted me. I talked to a few Asian guys, Chinese, Filipino, and Vietnamese that I work with, and they told me that most Asian women are after white men only for their money. I can't believe that this was some kind of long con. I mean, 10 months? Would a woman, well, at least they was honest with you. Would a woman actually date me for 10 months just for a financial safety net? You don't think so? They will marry you for a financial safety net. I hope I was not being set up to be used, but it sure seems that way. I'm very upset now, very lonely again. Also, she had a son that was almost 18, and we got very close, did all kinds of guy stuff, sports games and car shows, and now he's ghosted me as well. Well, he has to, it's his mother. What's wrong with you? Now the icing on the cake, we go to a cafe frequently near our home. I texted her to tell her that I'd be there. She replied that she would also be there. I thought we could talk things through. Well, get this, she shows up with her ex. Did I screw something up or was I just used? Deb, is it ever okay to ask somebody you're dating for that kind of money? Was I correct in not giving her the money? At this point, should I just forget her and move on? Yes, you should. Because okay, let's just pretend that was you say she blows this money, so it might have been real. That and the rent in San Jose is not cheap. So, chances are most of her income, if she's buying, being maxing out credit cards and stuff, she was living beyond her means. So her little $50,000 a year salary, that's not gonna go too far. So the only way that she can subsidize her lifestyle and actually live is to have men or somebody giving her money, right? So since it wasn't going to be you, she found somebody who was going to save her, catch her on her rent, and help her keep her car. It wasn't you. So you can't, you made a choice there. You had, you had, thanks, Nikki. You had a choice. Either you give it to her and, basically would be buying her time and affection, or you said no. And so she went and found somebody who was going to do it. That was her need right now. See, it was beyond like a want. She needed to keep her house and she needed to keep her car. And so she went to find somebody who was going to meet her needs. It wasn't you. So you can't be mad. You can't be mad. Your guy friends told you what the deal was. So, you then look at it like, you dodged a bullet instead of being mad. All right. And you say you never really been that good with the ladies. I don't understand that because there's so many single women in the South Bay. I mean, it's just ridiculous the number of women that are there. It just almost makes me want to meet you and see what's wrong with you. You got all that money. You're obviously a smart guy. You're financially stable, which is one of the big things that women look for. And, you're probably not ugly. I mean, you're not be the finest looking thing. You're a good age. 51 is, still young enough to do things and still, but old enough to be mature. So I'm trying to figure out, what is the problem here? Why you struggle so much to get with women? I would have to need him. Yeah, he does. He needs, they used to have it on, I think it was TikTok. Was it Instagram? I think it was TikTok. They called it the black wife effect, and they would show all these like dweeby looking, like homemade looking, raggedy, corn-fed rustic looking white boys. And then they would get them a black woman, and suddenly that motherfucker fine as hell. Dressed all, he got his little beard working, and his hair is done different. He's like dressed nice, standing all straight, looking all fly. And I'm like, what? I mean, she saw, the woman who got with him saw some potential there that I definitely would not have seen. But the end result after the women, fixed them, shaved them up, and you saw that girl, wasn't that something? Because some of those men, I was looking very intently at all the ones I saw, and it's like them guys went from looking like just like wrecks. I mean, just wrecked. Something that you just would not even want to talk to at all, to looking fly as hell. And I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. But yeah, that's what they used to call it, the black wife effect. That sounds like maybe that's what you need, homie. You need you a black wife so you can get fly, and then things might start happening a little bit different for you. Girl, yes. And they had this thing where they showed all these older guys with beards. Did you see that? And they was all walking around. I was like, and all dressed in their little suits and stuff, looking all dapper. I was like, what is going on here? When did old men start looking like this? I was giving out kind of side eye. The Tyrones were shook. They needed to be. Well, Denise, you have to. This is how you submit a question. We do have those shows every now and again where I answer questions live, but this show every week is with questions people submitted in advance. So follow the instructions that are on the screen and fill out the form and submit your question. And then my cousin extracts those questions from emails and puts them into a document that she emails me. I print it out and then I read the questions. So that's part of the fun of it is a surprise. So if somebody else does, puts it together. When I'm reading the question, I'm hearing it for the first time, just like you. So that makes it more interesting for both of us. That's how we've been doing it for years. I suppose at some point I'll have to start doing it myself. My cousin's getting old. She getting tired. She don't want to do it. She'd be like, I can't do it. That's why it's like this show is pretty sporadic because I have to go on her schedule. And like yesterday, we're going to do the show, but she hadn't finished the column yet. So, it is what it is. All right. So follow those instructions and then submit your question. Okay. Now let's go over to question number 14. This is a female 20 to 34 from Carrollton, Texas. Oh, I never heard of that. I wonder where that is. So I have an issue giving but not getting. So I've been with someone for a little over a year now, and sometimes it feels like I'm the only one truly putting effort into the relationship. I work 60 plus hours a week and pay over half the bills. Wow. I also do all the cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, laundry, etc. on top of making sure he has everything he wants and needs. Oh, you got that Southern woman mentality. No matter what, it feels like he gets and gets and gets, and I don't even really get appreciation. I even work when I'm sick or exhausted because we can't afford for me not to. But he's called off for over a week just because he didn't feel like going. On top of that, we only go on dates when he wants to and only have nook nook when he chooses to. It feels very one-sided, and even if I love him, I feel like it's just him getting what he can from me. What should I do? You should wise up and give him the boot. You've only been with dude for a year, and you're like his sugar mama. You're like mommy taking care of a child. I'm not understanding what you're getting out of this. What are you getting out of this? That you're going through all this is like you have that mentality like you have to earn love. You have to do all this work and favors and take care of somebody so that they'll love you. Don't you realize how self-defeating that is? That never works. It never works. That never, ever works. They will take it because you offering it, but do they really love you? No. They just like how they feel because you be taking care of them like that. They don't have to do anything. They get to live a life of leisure while you work yourself down to a nub taking care of a grown man. I wish I would. I suggest you stop doing this. Tell him that you're tired or you can't do this anymore and he needs to find a place to move. Because I'm pretty sure it's your house. Something tells me this is your spot. Question number 15. This is a male, 28 to 34 from St. Louis. Females, 35 to 41. Sorry, issue. I feel completely trapped. I'm 29. I've been dating a 36-year-old woman for 2.5 months. It was going well in the present. I enjoy spending time with her, and she treated me great. But the age difference and pressure I feel due to that has been bothering me. I've told her multiple times that I may want to move abroad at some point next year. I don't know when I want kids, but I know I do. And I feel worried about timelines. She has always said that is fine. But yesterday she got anxious and said word for word that I, quote, need to promise her I won't pull the rug out from under her, end quote. She basically asked me to say I'll never leave. I told her I can't promise forever right now, but said that I'd never intentionally hurt her. But Deb, I'm now feeling so much pressure. I feel like I can't break up with her because it'll devastate her. I couldn't sleep last night because of it. Can you help me? I feel so panicked. You don't have no player game. See, what you have to do when you come in the door, you say, well, I'm only here, I'm a bachelor. I enjoy being single. I'll spend some time with you, But it's not gonna be like we ain't gonna get married or nothing like that. I'm not gonna move in, and you're not moving in with me. So see, you put a hard line out there, and you keep repeating that. And I'm moving to Europe next year. So whatever we could do is gonna end when I move to Europe next year. You see how what I just did? How I keep hammering home the same things over and over, so she can never say that she didn't know. She forgot, because every time you see her, you're gonna repeat that speech. Now, would I, if I were you, have continued this knowing that this person is trying to angle for more? Nope, I would pull the plug. Once you start trying to pressure me, that's when I would say, look, I told you I'm moving to Europe next year. So out if you call that pulling the rug out from you, maybe that's what it is, but I already told you, so it shouldn't be a surprise. And I'm not gonna stick around. I'm not gonna be your husband. I'm not gonna be your kid's stepfather. I'm not gonna be around. I'm gonna be in Europe. That's where I'm gonna be. So, but we could end it now if this is gonna be easier for you. We don't have to wait till I move to Europe and then say goodbye at the airport. We can just do it now, because I don't want you to feel like I got used you or you got hurt or anything. So you decide. I'm gonna head home for now. Leave you some time to think, and you make up your mind. Let me know what you decide. I'm fine with it either way, because I'm moving to Europe next year. Yeah, but it's like he told her so. But she's trying to like pressure and guilt trip him. But there's only certain kind of people like you. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm just saying there's certain personality types that allow people to pressure and coerce them. And then there's certain personality types that are assholes that really don't give a fuck what you talk about, because it's all about me. It's my world, and that's going to be my way. And so for me, this would have never happened. This wouldn't happen. But I can tell that you're a nice guy and you're sensitive to other people's feelings and you care. But in a situation, you better care about yourself. She'll be trying to get you stuck. Basically, the next thing you know, she already has to turn up pregnant because she's only in her 30s. She can still have babies. You better watch yourself. If I was you, I would never go back over there again. And I would just tell her, based on the conversation we had, I think it's best that we end things now, because I'm going to Europe next year and I don't really want to put you through a whole bunch of stress and drama. So I'll just end it now so I can start planning my trip. I'll probably leave a few months earlier than I originally planned. But it's been great. Thanks. Thanks. It's been lovely. Question number 16. This is a male, 28 to 34, from St. Paul, Minnesota. Summary issue: how to be honest with a single mom. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a concert, and a woman who I happen to know is a single mother started flirting with me. Nothing came of it. It was too soon after my own marriage ended, and I'm not ready. And just because she was flirting doesn't mean she wanted to bang me anyway. But it did raise a question in my mind. My conscience/character will not allow me to get involved with a single mom unless she knows full well I have no intention whatsoever of ever being a father to her kids. If she said no problem, I just want to have some fun, I don't see a problem with that. Single mothers have a right to have some fun too, no? So the question is this: if attraction were to build between me and a single mother, what would be the best way to be honest with her? Just like I just told the young dude in the question before. You go in the door with your barriers, your boundaries, and you start laying them out like you flinging cards on the table like a Vegas card dealer. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. I'm doing it here for the good time. I'm not going to be nobody's husband. I'm still married. I'm going through a divorce. I'm not emotionally available. I have things I have to do. I have a lot of healing to do. I have to work on myself. Whatever's the story. I mean, dudes have, millions of them. You just fling them out there, and then you keep repeating them. Every time you see her, every time you talk to her on the phone, you hammer it home. And what usually happens, women say, I know, I heard you the first time. They get all mad because you keep saying the same thing over and over. But then that's when you say, well, I just want to make sure that you understand, because I don't want it to be any problem later. If I was a dude, that's how I do things. So, you do that, and make sure you tell her, I don't want to meet your kids, because, a bunch of different people shouldn't be in and out of a child's life. They get attached. So I'm not going to meet your kids. I'm not going to come to your house. It's just going to be, we'll meet each other when we can out and, out and about, or maybe you can come over here. We'll go to a hotel or something. Lay the parameters out, whatever is going to work the best for you. And then you just keep doing that, and you keep saying that. Question number 17. This is a male, 50 to 56. He's Black from Clarksville, Tennessee. The female in question is 50 to 56 as well. Summary issue: am I telling her how to dress? It seems like anytime I suggest to my wife that she claps back at me that I'm trying to be her daddy, I'm trying to tell her what to do. We're in our mid-50s. I'm 56 and she'll be 55 in a few months. We've been together 20-something years. One thing that attracted my wife to me years ago was that I was active in church. Most of the guys she dated before me were more so street dudes who did the club thing and stuff like that. Her first husband was an alcoholic and drug user, which caused their divorce. We met and she joined my home church, the one I was born and raised in. I was on several boards and auxiliaries and she liked that I was doing that. Then about 6 years ago, my wife and I joined a new church and we loved the pastor and our first lady. We became active in our new church as well. The first lady gets her clothes custom made by a guy who has dressed a number of gospel artists. Anyway, right around the time COVID hit, our pastor set me aside to become deacon in our church. I was honored. Given that it was COVID, we never had the official ceremony to appoint me. Well, a few weeks ago, he called and said he was planning to appoint several new deacons and wanted to officially give me my credentials during that service, along with the other new deacons. I'm the type of guy who likes to keep my wardrobe up to date and current. I'm not still wearing suits from 20 years ago, and I like buying suits, ties, and dress shirts, etc. I rotate my wardrobe around from time to time, and I get rid of stuff that I no longer wear or out of date. I told my wife years ago that she should invest in a really nice black dress and a nice white dress for formal events that may come up at church. Not a dress that would be in regular rotation, but that special type of dress that you keep in plastic hanging in the closet for the one event that you need to look really nice. My wife would always just shrug it off. Now that the installation ceremony is coming up, our first lady wants to speak with my wife as well as the other wives of the other brothers because they will take part in the ceremony as the wives. I mentioned to my wife last night to be the perfect time to wear a really nice white dress. They want all the women to wear white and the men to be in black suits. She snapped back at me that I was trying to tell her what to do. She said she already has a white dress to wear. I said yes, but people have seen that dress several times, and I really want her to look her best during the ceremony. I plan to invite my siblings and my big mom to the ceremony. My dad's health won't allow him to attend. My wife thinks I'm forcing her to go out and buy a new dress because, as she says, I don't think the dress she has is appropriate enough. No, I just want her to look really nice because there will be pictures taken afterwards that will become part of the church history. Am I wrong to want my wife to look her best for the event? She feels now that I'm forcing her to go buy a new dress when I told her years ago to invest in a nice white and black outfit. Being that she's a deacon's wife, is it wrong of me to want her to look her best on certain occasions? Or should I just be happy that she has on a dress that's white, period? Was I wrong? No, you're not wrong. But for some reason, she feels resentful and feels like, you're telling her what to do. But my thing, I know what you're thinking. She's going to be wearing the same old homely dress she already wore 55 times. And everybody's going to be looking at you because, that's how church folks are. They will say, well, why he didn't even get his wife a new dress for the ceremony? So somehow it's going to become your fault. You do know that, right? So be ready. No, I tried to get a new dress, but she didn't want to. She wanted to wear that old rag. I know you wouldn't say that because you're a nice husband. But if it was me, I sure would say that. She wanted to look like that. So that's on her. She's a grown woman. She can do just whatever way she wants to. And I would be done with it. I'm not gonna make excuses for her. I'm gonna look like a fucking hobo and shit. So, that's I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You can't, short of you going out to buy the dress yourself, then she gonna wear what she got. And even if you bought one, the chances are she probably still wouldn't wear it because she'll be mad that you bought it anyway. I don't know what to tell you. But I don't think you're wrong. I think that's a special enough occasion that seemed like she would want to have a new dress for it. But for some reason she doesn't. I'm not really understanding what her why she's holding back like that. There must be a reason. Do you guys have any idea? Some of y'all are church folks. Why would she not want to get a new dress when her husband's being given his papers as a deacon? It's a big deal in a lot of churches to be a deacon. I have no idea what a deacon is. I'm that removed from the church life. But people talk about it with pride, so it must be something important, right? And he's getting his little paperwork and stuff, getting recognized by the pastor and the first lady. Why would she not want to wear a new dress? Well, maybe. But other than just telling her that, the truth, like, it's a special occasion and why you should have a new, nice dress for it. That's true. I mean, how can his approach be wrong? Unless he's calling her names or something. I don't know. I don't understand what the resistance is. Question number 18. This is a male in the 20 to 34 age group from Newark, New Jersey. Summary of issue. Online dating matches insisting on more photos. I matched with a nice lady with whom we had some good interchanges on the app and later texting and phoning. I have a few pictures on my site, so she asked for another one. She is complaining and said she wants me to send her one where I'm smiling. It's not that I'm not smiling, but I have one of those faces when I smile, my teeth don't show unless I really pull my upper lip up and it looks very forced and unnatural. My teeth are fine. I have dealt with this my whole life. Yeah, they do, but I can only go by what's in the letter, and that's with everybody who wrote in. And I try not to, you know, talk about what coulda, shoulda, woulda because I don't know. I don't have any more facts other than what's, presented. So I base my decisions on that. It could be all kind of stuff with every letter that's come through this column in the last 20 years. But I don't worry about that. I just go by what they write and make my assessment based on that. So then he says, my brother has one of those smiles. When he does a natural smile, you not only see his upper teeth, but much of his gums as well. So does the opposite problem. The former woman who I'm gradually getting over but don't want to has one of those smiles too. But it didn't matter to me. She could have missing teeth and it would still have liked her. Anyway, I was going to try to take a selfie where there was a smiling where my teeth show, but it would just be very forced and awkward and not look good at all. I tried a few times and they looked terrible. My facial skin was bunched up and drawn back because I had to draw it back to show my teeth. Damn. So I'm deciding to heck with it. This is the way I look. Or she is always saying how handsome she thinks I am, which I think is way overdoing it. But if one takes her at her word, she does have enough physical attraction for me based on the pictures I've provided. I'm not going to force myself to smile and show teeth when that's not who I am. If that's a deal breaker, then so be it. She has pointed out that she's had bad experience on Match where she met a guy who scammed her out of money. But because of that, she is naturally cautious and careful. I get that. I think everyone, but especially women, are careful about things. But I don't see how getting a picture of me with a bright toothy smile helps that. Me, I was just thinking the same thing. I thought just telling her that I don't have that kind of smile, so that's the deal breaker. Okay, see you later. Or just say I'm not going to take a picture of me that is not natural. Then let her decide how to proceed. I don't get why this is such an issue with her. She can see how I look now with the non-tooth showing smile. So if she doesn't like me, just tell me to take a hike. Well, she doesn't need to tell you to take a hike. You tell her to take a hike. What you do is just say, look, hey, Shay. What you do is just tell her, hey, you know, I don't feel like taking a picture with my teeth showing. So if this is not, if that's a deal breaker for you, then so be it. It's been nice talking to you. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, you have enough pictures of me to see what I look like, and that's got it. That's gonna have to do. And then she'll either accept it or she won't. Not too much you can do about that. If people want to be showing your teeth and stuff, and like, say I charge for that. I charge $1,000 per tooth. Let's move on. Question number 19. This is a female, 20 to 34 from Austin, Texas. Sorry, issue. My friend is upset after I cut our lunch short when he showed up late. I have a friend who is always late. I love him, but it is so irritating. So I decided I'm going to set some stronger boundaries around my time and energy. I took some advice I heard you say a few years ago to let late people arrive late, but you still leave at the time you had planned because your time is valuable and you can't get it back. That's right. I say time is finite. You only get so much. You said that eventually they'll get the point and realize they can't play with your time like that. So my friend and I had lunch at 1. Friend texted at 12:50 that he's rushing across town and will be there probably about 20 minutes late. I waited for him in the car until he got there at 1:35 and we sat down to eat. So he was 35 minutes late. A few minutes after getting my meal, I called over the waiter and asked for the check and a to-go box. My friend started asking me what was going on and why I'm leaving early, and I told him I have something after I have to go to. That's why I told him once I could make both events. My friend, well, why didn't you tell me that? I would have gotten here better on time if I knew you had something after this. He then said that he had to rush through many different things to get here, rush through traffic, and was sorry about being late. But it was wrong of me to not communicate he had something time sensitive afterwards while scheduling our hangout or when he texted that he would be late, so he could have had the option to go home. Now I feel bad and wonder if I treated him poorly when I was just trying to be more strict with my time going forward. No, what you're supposed to say is, so it's inconvenient for me to be at the restaurant on time waiting for you, but you want the convenience of me telling you so you could go back home? Fuck you. It's not going to work like that. You're going to be just as inconvenienced as me. I was inconvenienced on the front end, and you're going to be inconvenienced on the back. Now, friend, that's how we do things. And whether I had something to do or not, you're supposed to show the courtesy and respect to be here on time. Since you can't ever manage to do that, I set aside an hour for you. You decided to spend it doing something else. So this is it. This is all you get. Now it's time for me to go do what else I have to do in life, and it don't include you. So I don't know what to tell you. You can be mad if you want to, but it don't change shit. Next time, have your happy ass here on time, and then we'll have a full hour. And then I would have got up and left. Who does stuff like this? And they're trying to make it your fault that he's late and gonna sit there looking stupid, eating the rest of his lunch by himself. Girl, you was good because he would have got an earful from me. Question number 20. This is a female, 22 to 27, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Summary issue. My boyfriend creepily ran towards the kitchen knives after I told him he should die. And wait a minute. Why would you say that to him? Preface, I love my boyfriend. He's never laid a hand on me. We've been together for 3 years. This is the only time something like this has ever happened. Okay, she put a whole bunch of stuff about how wonderful he is. Nobody cares. So about 5 months ago, we got into a really intense argument on his birthday. I spent a lot of money and was feeling resentful about his prolonged unemployment, a year and a half while pursuing his, quote, music career, even though he had some money saved up. I was complaining about it because I am a control freak and honestly, sometimes a nag. I admit that I probably shouldn't have spent his birthday complaining about it, and it was incredibly selfish of me. I said I was his sugar mama, and he calmly asked me to stop saying that. But my immature self continued to pick a fight and be rude, and things escalated. We both ended up saying hurtful things to each other, and he said something along the lines of that there's a reason he got a full ride scholarship, and I didn't because of how I was raised. And I just snapped, wow, he went deep. I looked him in the eye and slowly said, you should die. I know that's awful, and I really regret saying it. This is one of the worst things I've ever done in my entire life, and I keep replaying this mistake, wishing I had never said it. Since this incident, I've decided to go to therapy to address my issues with regulating my emotions. Right after that, I said that he made this creepy smile, got up quickly and started silly walking toward the kitchen where the big knives were, and I panicked. I yelled stop and reached for his hand. He never picked up the knife, but he was close to it. Looking back, I remember being so afraid. I didn't know he was going to hurt himself or me. And he said, see, this is why you don't tell someone to die because they may try to kill themselves. No, he wasn't. The fact that he silly walked should have told you that he was just kidding. He wasn't going to do nothing. Later, he sincerely apologized and clarified that he was never going to hurt me and that he was pretending to grab a knife to K himself because I told him to die. Since then, he has also gone to therapy and explained the situation to his therapist. He is now working on emotional regulation as well as me. This moment really was a wake-up call for us on how to communicate maturely, and honestly, our conflict resolution has gotten a lot better since then. But even after all that, I still think about it. I wonder if what happened is a situation that we can both truly recover from. Any advice for us? Is moving on probably the best thing to do in this situation? Anything would help right now. I would love to hear a new and different perspective. Oh, you two stupid people, you don't need to be together. Who says stuff like that? You need, besides going to a shrink, you need to grow up. Yeah, they both sound just stupid. Just stupid. You know what I mean? You can't even argue. You picked his birthday to decide to rant and rave about, paying bills and him and his music career and all this stuff. Why would you choose that day? You've been dealing with it for 18 months. So why that day? See, you did everything. I'm looking at what you do. Your stuff is passive aggressive. You wanted to ruin his birthday. You didn't want him to have a nice birthday. That's why you did that. And you kept nagging at him and stuff and saying that insulting him. And then you told him to die. So, I mean, all in all, you need to break up with you because you just do the absolute most. And your level of disrespect is off the chart. Question number 21. This is a young lady, 18 to 21 from Philadelphia. Summary issue. How do I start being more confident in saying no and setting boundaries? I'm 18 years old and I have a big problem with saying no when I'm uncomfortable. Oh, there's that word. We all know how some people sometimes are and that they don't understand body language. And I'm at a point where I'm going to need to say no directly, especially to males. I have had this problem since childhood. I can text the day after and tell them that I was uncomfortable and not interested, but when it will happen in the moment, I freeze and try to get away, or just play along, but with some physical distance. I don't want it to be like this. How do I get the confidence to reject people, set boundaries, and clearly say no? Well, I mean, you can say, you don't have to say flatly no. You can say no, thank you. Or, I don't think my boyfriend back home would like that. I mean, you can just make up stuff. See, the thing about it is, you nice types, I think you have to tell the truth to these random ass men. You don't have to tell them every single thing that you tell them. You can make up. You could tell them you gay. You could tell them that like I said, you have a boyfriend or fiance back home, and you're going to be planning your wedding in a few months. You can just tell them anything. You don't need to tell them the truth. And the no can be couched in many different ways. Like I said, you can say no, thank you, or no, I'm sorry. I don't think my boyfriend would like that very much. Stuff like that. And then be prepared for them to come back, especially the brothers. Oh, but can't you have friends? Nope, I don't need any friends. Thank you. I have enough friends. And all my friends are girls. So I don't need any male friends. I don't want no problems in my relationship. See what I mean? So you just say whatever, but it's still no. It's still no. And it might be an intermediary. What am I trying to say? It's like it's an intermediate way for you to start advancing to the, just firm no. Like when people say, we go to the grocery store and they say, would you, don't, I'm looking for some change. Nope, says Deborah. Well, this and that. Get a job, says Deborah. Then you can have some money. Like me, I go to work every day. What do you do? Sit around in front of the grocery store asking people for money. I'm not giving you shit. Well, see, I had to evolve to that. When I was younger, I just said, oh, no, sorry, I don't have any change. Like a teenager, so I don't have any change. Or, although I did see my mother one time, this guy was looking really hungry. We were downtown, and it was all of us, all the kids with her, and I forgot what we were going to do. Maybe school shopping or something. But everybody, it was all of us. And this guy was saying, I just need some money to buy some food. And then my mother looked at him, and I don't know what went through her mind, but she says, I'm not going to give you any money, but I'll get you some food. And so she went in, I think it was Woolworths, where they used to have a little counter. She went in there and she got him some fried chicken and a biscuit or something, and a soda. And then she had my oldest brother take it out there and get it to the dude. And he was so happy, he walked away, and that's all he wanted was something to eat. And so then he left. Now I saw her do that. But it's something about the way she looked at him. I guess she was sizing him up. Because a lot of them be asking for money, and they just going to go buy liquor with it or drugs. They're not going to buy. But he was specific. He just wanted something to eat. And so she said, I'm not going to give you no money, but I'll get you something to eat. And she did. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was kind of amazing to me. But, so she said no to part of what he said. But, she made good on her. And if he hadn't been there, believe me, my brothers would have ate that piece of chicken, that biscuit in like a few seconds. So it wasn't like it was going to go to waste. But yeah, that was really interesting. I got to see a new side of her that I'd never seen before. So that's what I suggest. You're going to gradually ascend to the flat out no, or the hell no, or fuck no, or what I look like no, you bitch ass motherfucker no, things like that come out of your mouth when you're older and just really don't care anymore and be happy to shoot somebody in the face with some pepper spray or tap them with my stun gun. So, yes, that'd be nice. Likes up, everybody, likes. If you like this, I mean, once we got Shay, you missed all the drama. This show didn't start till about 20 minutes later because it was just one thing after another. The internet went out, my computer went out, the camera went out, the sound went out. Couldn't get nothing going. It had to switch computers. It was terrible. So here we go. Question number 22. This is a young lady, 42 to 49. I guess she's not that young. From San Diego. Summer issue. I refuse to change my annual backyard party plans for my boyfriend and his kids, and now we are fighting. I am 42 and have been hosting an end of summer party with my neighbors for many years. It's always the same setup. Adults and kids come, we all celebrate together, and at some point the kids go to sleep while the adults continue the evening. This year's plan was the same. I was going to bring my kids, they're 6 and 10, inside to sleep at our house, which is right next to the backyard. From the balcony, there's also an audio and visual access to the yard, and my kids also have a phone they can use to call me if needed. After putting them to bed, I plan to go back to the backyard for a little while longer to enjoy the evening with friends. I invited my boyfriend of 6 months, he's 46, and his kids as well, they're 5 and 7, to join us. He declined, saying he didn't feel comfortable leaving his kids asleep at my place since they hadn't stayed there before. He also didn't like the idea of putting them to bed in my place while he stayed outside with me, or going to bed with them while I stayed outside. I told him I completely understood and I didn't have a problem with him choosing not to come. But then he got upset and said that he and his kids weren't actually welcome at the party because of the way the party was set up. I explained that this party has been running this way for years with the same format, and it's not really something I can or want to change from one guest. My view is that guests can decide if the event works for them or not. They don't have to come. In his opinion, I should have left the party with him and our kids when it was bedtime. On top of that, during the party, I didn't have time to call him because I was wanting to focus on my guests and enjoy the evening. He was very hurt by this too, saying I should have made time. This all turned into a big argument. So I need to ask you, Deb, was I wrong or selfish, like he said, for not changing the setup of a tradition and for not calling during the party to accommodate my boyfriend and his kids? Hell no. What, you dump his ass? First of all, see, um, he's trying to be controlling. I'm glad you stood your ground and told him don't come then. Oh, that was the best thing ever that you could do. And then you didn't even want to call him and say, how you supposed to call him and you're the hostess? What you gonna be talking to him about? Just tell him about the party that you can tell him about how the party went later. It don't have to be during the event. You can tell him about how the party was after the event. So to me, this would be a red flag of, controlling and trying to dictate what you do when it affects not just you, but all the neighbors as well. He wants you, somebody who's been on the scene for 6 months, to change the whole event to accommodate him. Yes, that's why I love it too, Missy. So I had to go and find it and put it on this computer as well. Because last week I didn't have it. Well, when was that? Friday? I didn't have it. And I was upset. But yeah, this to me is a super red flag. You need to pay attention to this. Okay, that's probably why he's 45 and single. Sometimes, you look at men and you wonder why they single, and it comes out in little ways like this. Controlling asshole. And that's why nobody want to be with him. He's trying to tell somebody what to do. Like I said, it's with no regard for how it's going to affect you and all the neighbors. All he's thinking about is himself. So you did exactly the right thing. You know what I mean? He's on some bullshit. Question number 23 of 26 questions. This is a male, 22 to 27, from Portland. My girlfriend still talks to an old hookup and says cutting him off isn't an option. Not even a boyfriend, a hookup. There's a guy my girlfriend of several months hooked up with about a year ago, and she still talks to as a, quote, friend. He lives in a different state, and she insists that there are no feelings between them anymore. Despite that, she insists that maintaining contact with him is non-negotiable because he helped her through some difficult times, and she has spoken about him affectionately on multiple occasions. Naturally, alarms are blaring in my head on this one. I can already feel that this has some major potential to make me insecure and lead to some toxic jealousy. Then you need to deuce out. Am I failing to fulfill some emotional needs? Nope. Sexual needs? Nope. Is she keeping him around as a safe rebound if things don't work out between us? Maybe. He's in another state, so it's hard to say. Embarrassing as it is to say, I can't help but have anxious premonitions of them getting married someday just based on how attached she is to maintaining this, quote, friendship. Yeah, but you don't know how he feels. This could be very one-sided, where he's just being polite. They're trying to keep the door open in case he rolls to town so he can tap that ass, since they was just a hookup anyway. You know what I mean? I feel like I already know how these things work. I feel like nothing I can do to prevent what will happen, and it's completely up to her to make a choice. Demanding she cut contact with him will only make me look controlling, and it won't change how she truly feels anyway. We haven't yet discussed this at length, but it makes me nauseous, feeling powerless like this and having to essentially grovel to be a priority. Would you or any of the ladies listening be comfortable with your partner maintaining this kind of friendship? How can I approach the situation in a healthy way? We are 24 her and 25 me. I really like this girl, so I just want some balance and reasonable advice before I conclude that my best option is to go with nuclear, then break up. Well, you don't have to go nuclear, but what you do have to say is, set a boundaries. Like, look, somebody that you had a hookup with, and you still, you want to put that person on a par with me. I don't feel like this is not going to work. So I'm going to cut this short, and I'm going to boop, deuce out, and you and homeboy over there, continue doing whatever it is the hell you doing. Because I want my woman to be 100% about me, not me and some other dude that she fucked. It's not that kind of party. So that, I mean, you probably don't want to say it like I just did, but that's essentially what it is. And she's gonna have you on a par of importance with him, and so you need to let her know that it ain't going down like that. You want something else, and she's not offering it, and so there's no reason for you to stick around. You don't need to go nuclear. You just need to tell her that she on some bullshit and you ain't having it. Question number 24 of 26. This is a young lady, 20 to 34, from Plymouth, England. Summary of issue: my husband is a sex offender and I am in free fall. Is there a way to move forward? Wait, what? My husband, who is 30 years old, was just arrested after admitting he followed a 79-year-old woman home and groped her. Wow. He followed her, ran up, groped her, and then ran away, all within a span of 30 seconds. He confessed right away and is now facing some serious charges. I'm in complete shock. There were no signs he was capable of doing something like this. He's been my best friend and life partner for years, and we have children together. Overnight, my whole life blew up. I'm 29 and suddenly looking at raising my kids alone while trying to wrap my head around the fact that the person I love most did something disturbing like this. I don't excuse it, but I also can't shut off my feelings. I miss him. I still love him. Well, of course you do. I mean, just because he did something egregious doesn't mean that your feelings turn off like a switch. And at the same time, I feel disgusted and betrayed. It's like my brain and heart are constantly fighting. How do you even begin to move forward after something like this? How do we build when your family and your future vanish overnight? Right now, I just feel like I'm free falling with no ground under me. This is the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. I know this is not typical of him and was out of character. You don't know that. It just might be the first time he got caught. He described it like he was watching himself do it but didn't understand why, and feels profound guilt for harming someone. He says he needs help, that something is wrong, and he is not himself, and I believe him. He is getting a neuropsych evaluation. Hopefully, they'll be able to pinpoint what caused this and potentially get a brain scan. I don't think he's beyond help, and I know he's not a deviant by nature. Obviously, he is. I mean, you don't just sit around and think up some shit like that to do unless you're a deviant. Yeah. I'm sorry, girl, but your thinking is not being very realistic here. He is my best friend. He's my comfort, my love, my everything. He's the best dad, and I just can't understand any of it. All I want is him, but I know I'll never have him again. Regardless of the outcome, I have to leave him. I obviously can't look past it, but I'm also so broken. I am devastated and disgusted at the same time. Okay, well, it's really not too much for me to do, but would suggest that you see an attorney, because if he would do that to somebody 79 years old, you have girl kids, you or even a boy kid, you don't know, when people start showing deviant traits, you don't know how they're going, which way of the fence they're going to land on. They might hop back and forth. You just never know. So what you need to do is put things in place so that he cannot be alone with your children ever again until they are 18 or have like black belts in taekwondo or something and can defend themselves, because your husband is on one. This He's dangerous to old women. He could be dangerous to kids too. You just don't know. For him to do something that you feel is so out of character, because I'm the kind, like, when they do stuff like this, my imagination goes wild. Right? I'm like you, Sliver. I think, okay, you a predator on the old. You're also going to prey on the weak and the young, because those are two very vulnerable segments of society. You see where I'm going with this? So you're looking at, lady, you're looking at like, you know, uh, sneeze again. You're looking like, this is so out of character for him and stuff. But see, I'm trying to I try to tell women all the time, men talk about what's on their mind, what they're thinking about. They also do what they're thinking about. So this thought didn't just magically appear in his head and in those 30 seconds went away. This is something that he thought about doing. He saw an opportunity and then he took it. So that's why I say I'm doubtful that this is the first time. I just think it's the first time he got caught. I think a lot of women would, you know, would be so embarrassed or confused, or maybe they didn't even, recognize him or identify him, or he got away with it. Let me put it that way. And so, he ran off and didn't get caught. So would I think that this is his first time? Absolutely not. He was just way too comfortable. And the main thing I would be thinking about is protecting my children from his weirdness and his strange little proclivities. Exactly. Anybody who's vulnerable, like Sliver. Let me put this on the screen because this is just what I was thinking. See, this is the part that's gonna make why you need an attorney. Children, elderly, and the disabled are all vulnerable to this type of person. This guy is something wrong with him. Yes. Always choose the cat. Unless you're allergic like me, then just choose a turtle. Wow. Yeah, please see an attorney and figure out what your legal rights are going to be to protect your children. That's your top priority. Okay. And second, you want to protect your money. So see an attorney like tomorrow or as soon as you can get an appointment. Question number 25, our next to last question. Now, this is from a male, 35 to 41, from Ontario, British Columbia. The female is 28 to 34. Some issue. My girlfriend keeps pushing for us to move into a 2-bedroom apartment because she wants her own room, but I'm worried. My girlfriend is 28 and I'm 36, and we've been together for 3 years. We've lived together for a year and a half. Recently, we've been talking about moving from our apartment into another one in a nicer area, but every time I search, she insists I look at 2 bedrooms because she wants her own room. I have several issues with this, however. For one, she currently pays the equivalent of $200 US out of the $1,695, while I take care of the rest as well as utilities. I make about $60,000 in US funds, where she makes about 30 to 40, so I don't really mind. But a 2-bedroom in our desired area would cost at least 2,200 US equivalent, and whenever I tell her she's going to have to help with more money, she gets upset. Secondly, we're essentially in a dead bedroom. She's on birth control and anxiety meds, so her libido is non-existent. So my concern is that if she has her own room, I'm essentially living with a roommate and not a girlfriend. I've also brought this up to her, and she gets upset about this too. I feel like I already give a lot in our relationship and receive very little in return. And despite her arguments, I doubt giving her her own room would help our relationship. I'm trying to get her to understand and avoid a breakup, but things are looking to be headed that way if things persist. Is there any hope here? Nope. There's no hope. Just give it up, dude. Tell her that you're gonna move, and she's gonna have to either get a roommate, she'll have to pay the rent all by herself, or go back to where her parents are, move to a different place that she can afford by herself. So she's only been paying $200 a month. She should have some money saved up where she can rent her own place. But whatever you do, do not accommodate her and stop giving to her like that. You remind her that she is not your wife and it's not your job to take care of her as a mere girlfriend. So y'all, you do what these dudes are just as confused as these women. Okay, that's not a wife. It's not. She need to pay her fair share. She gonna be living like a roommate. She need to earn half the money and half the expenses for that situation. You shouldn't be on the hook for $2,200 a month paying for her extra room. The fuck out of here. She's tripping. Well, he's not getting services because she don't want to do nothing. He's not getting no nookie. That's the number one service they be looking for. He ain't getting that. And she's uncomfortable with her body and her appearance, which is a possibility, then do something about it. Right? Don't sit there talking about it or using it as an excuse to shy away from life. What are you going to do about it? See, I'm a person of action. I don't want to hear a bunch of words, a bunch of yin yang. What you doing? I want to see what you're doing. I'd rather somebody do something than talk about it. Don't say nothing. Just let me see the actions that you're taking. That says more to me than the words. So, yeah, there's no hope here, dude. It is what it is. You just have to accept it. Question number 26. This is a female, 20 to 34. She's African American from Torrance, California. Summer issue. I'm exasperated by a friend with a terrible boyfriend that she is convinced is, quote, going to change. This dude is clearly cheating on her and treating her as a backup option and taking advantage of her. He is generally inconsiderate, self absorbed, and shockingly selfish with a lack of shame or self awareness about it. He's 30, 2 years younger than us, and also very unattractive and arrogant. Well, dude must be slinging that pipe like nobody's business because there's no way. Every single person in our friend group hates him and wants her to dump him. Every week when we meet up for a ladies' brunch, she has another story about him being really shitty and vents about him for 15 minutes straight. Right now, she's giving him yet another ultimatum. They've already broken up twice and is convinced he's going to change. To me, it's clear that he has some sort of frontal lobe issue that makes it hard for him not to be self indulgent and childish. There's like 0.00001% chance of this happening. I don't know. I've completely given up on trying to help her out. All I do is listen and nod and tell her she needs to find someone to treat her better. If you have better ideas on how to get through to her, I would love to hear it. Believe it or not, she's making long-term plans to have kids with this dude. Your friend is stupid. Yeah, it's magic. The magic stick. That's what they used to call it. He got that magic stick. Dun-dun-dun. Who was that? That was 50 Cent, right? Was that 50 Cent song about the magic stick? But that must be what dude had. He ugly, he got a bad attitude, talks shit and cheats, and she's still sprung. Dude is putting it down. So all you can do is, yeah, that's what they used to call the man. All you can do in a situation like this is you guys have to work together though. First, you warn her. Don't just broadside her. First, you want to call her up and you guys, group chat or if you guys have a group text, whatever, or group phone call, whatever you all have. And you're going to say, we all are in agreement that that man that you with is an idiot and that you slowly turn it into one for sticking around with them. You have much more to offer, but until you believe it, we can't do anything about your stupid choices. So what we're going to do is this. If you decide that you're going to continue to go around with us and go to the ladies' brunch, you are banned from talking about him. We don't want to hear it. You're going to talk about something else. The second that you talk about him, we're all going to get up and walk out, get our food to go, and leave. So you decide if you want to talk about him, you'll be talking to an empty table by yourself. Otherwise, you have the option not to come. So you can sit there at your house and be with him as long as you want to. But we are not going to tolerate that and listen to that garbage. And you talk about that trash garbage man that you got. Again, we're not going to do that to ourselves. We don't want to hear it. It fills us with anxiety and dread and disappointment in you and disgust about your choices. So all in all, it's not a good idea for us to be around you talking about him. We want to still have you as a friend, but if this continues, then we might change that too. But this is your last chance. You either figure out how to not talk about him to us, or you just stay over there with him and don't talk to us, period. That's what I would do. There's some zaddies. Oh, shoot. Maybe I need a trip to Torrance. But, you have the right to set that boundary where you're not going to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You refuse to listen to it. And you don't want her talking about it to you. Now she can go talk about it somewhere else. She can talk in her library. She can have other friends to talk about it. She can get online and start a live stream where she talks about it and people actually listen. She can make a story like on TikTok where that girl talked about the husband that she married and how he dogged her out. She can do that. She can do whatever she wants to, but it's not going to talk to you about it anymore. Okay, and you need to make that very clear to her. That is a boundary that she's not going to be allowed to cross that anymore. So that was our show. We finally made it through everything. Finally stayed, all the indicator light stayed on, my stream stayed on, the internet stayed on, the mic stayed on. It finally came together. But the beginning of this video, man, this was a hot mess. It's seriously, I don't know how to edit this. If I could edit it and re-upload it, but that is what I wish I could do. I don't know how to do that with a live stream. I guess I'll try to figure it out because there's a whole part of it where there's no mic. I'm talking, but nobody can hear me. Then the screen went black. It just was a hot mess. It was a hot mess, just a quote train wreck today for some reason. So yeah, Monkey Shines Monday. We shan't be doing this again. It was unbelievable. So you guys take care, and I will see you Sunday, if not before. You never know. I've been getting more sleep. I have more energy. All right. So I'll see you later.